I would like to give you an example. It's actually an example of a bad sales call. And of course, we need to see the bad examples also, so we know what not to do. I think about 3 or 4 years ago, a little bit longer than that, I trained an insurance company. Oh, okay. If any of you remember that, we had a dengue fever crisis, we had in Malaysia a few years ago. Just go like this if you guys remember the dengue fever crisis. Okay. All right. This dengue, it was not only in Malaysia, it was in all over the place, in tropical countries mostly. So dengue fever, people were getting bitten by the dengue mosquito, and they would have this fever, and a lot of people were dying because of that. So then they came up with a solution. You go to the hospital, and they'll keep you for a X number of days, and then you get better. Now, when this happened, a lot of insurance companies, they actually developed this dengue insurance product. So this particular company invited me to come and train their people on how to sell this dengue insurance. As a call center consultant, I will normally go in, I will listen to the calls. A lot of times, because call centers have recorded calls, so I'm able to just, very smoothly listen to 25, 30, 40 calls in one shot. So while I was listening to the calls, because I need to know how they're selling currently so that I can improve on that and then make them better. So this is what this guy was doing. All right. So I listened to one of the guys, and this is what he was saying to customers. Check this out. We have dengue insurance available if you are interested. It is good to protect your family in case of medical expenses. Are you interested in the coverage? So when this person was saying that, of course, automatically I already knew what was wrong. Can anyone tell me, would you buy dengue insurance if you hear these two lines from somebody calling you on the phone? Absolutely not. You wouldn't, simply because this person did not create the right picture in your mind about the pain, about the fact that you could be at risk of dengue fever. You could be at risk of being bitten. Your family could be at risk. So this person didn't create those pictures in the mind. Also didn't create a picture of, after you have the insurance, how convenient it will be if, God forbid, you do get dengue insurance, how conveniently you will be taken care of. These people were not doing all that. They were just simply doing this. We have dengue insurance available, good to protect your family. Are you interested? So they were getting banged every single day. They were dialing 80 to 100 numbers a day, and their conversion rate was nothing to even talk about. This picture is not a good picture to create. They were not able to create value. So what the customer was picturing is these two photos at the bottom: insurance company calling me, and they're selling me medical or debt insurance, trying to get me out of my medical debt. Now, can anyone tell me, if I was if you were to try to sell dengue insurance and you wanted to create pictures in these people's minds, what would you say? What would you say inside? You don't have to tell me a complete phone call from beginning to end. Just tell me maybe a statement or something that you would say to create some kind of a picture in these people's minds that they should want to buy dengue insurance. Give me an example. You can either unmute and talk, or you can just chat in the Zoom chat. What would you say to create a picture in somebody's mind for them to take dengue insurance? Okay, Cassandra says, do you have drains near your house? Absolutely, absolutely, Cassandra. Maybe pond. Exactly. See these, now all of a sudden, this is great. Everybody please give Cassandra a hand. Let's clap for Cassandra. Yay. This is great, because now when you say this, do you have drains near your house, or do you live close to a pond? The customer is now all of a sudden thinking about that drain or the pond. And because of the kind of awareness that Malaysia had created in the general public about trying, avoiding the dengue mosquito, the moment you try to say that, do you have a drain or a pond, you're basically getting them to imagine that dengue mosquito flying around that drain, isn't it? Yes, Cassandra? We're getting them to imagine that dengue mosquito flying around that drain or a pond. So very good. Anthony says, hi sir, is your housing area near to a dengue danger zone? Right, absolutely. Well, which once again goes to the pond or the drain or some plants or a park or something like that. The next slide is actually going to show you a little bit more about that. But yes, if I want to sell dengue insurance, I need to get them in a state of mind that puts them in the fear of the dengue mosquito and also gets them to realize that they are at risk of being bitten. That's it. So once I can create that picture, then I can very easily tell them about how this insurance policy is going to benefit them in terms of convenience, peace of mind, of course, saving money because they will not have to pay for hospitalization. A lot of that will be covered. So a lot of those things then can be injected into the presentation in terms of pictures. Now let's look at a good example. By the way, that the slides that I have sent you guys, they all have everything here, but don't worry about that. Don't look at those slides right now. Let's just have our discussion here. Okay, so now this person, after the training, by the way, it's the same person. This is real case study, it's a real situation where I listened to the calls. This is the pre-training call. Now the same person after the training went back to the phones, and this is how they were selling dengue insurance now. Wow, look at my curtain. Okay, success story. We were actually able to increase this insurance company's, that particular department's sales by 27%. Because of course, I had requested that, 1 month later after the training, if they could invite me back in for a meeting so we can review the numbers, see how well we performed during the training, and then after the training, how well they sold. So we were able to increase 27%. So let's say if they were selling 1 million ringgit a month in insurance before the training, after the training, it went up to 1,270,000. That 270,000 is, believe me, it's a lot more than what they paid me for the training. But I was so glad that for the rest of my life, I can talk about this. And of course, many other examples. Okay, so how did this guy, after the training, how did he sell the dengue insurance? This is what he did. The first thing he would do, he placed the customer in that particular situation, just like we were discussing. Cassandra also mentioned the water pond. So he says, sir, do you live close to a children's park or a water pond or a lake? So when he says this, these images on the right hand side, this is what the customer starts picturing. And then he's thinking, oh, very close to my house, there's a pond there. He's thinking like that. Or maybe there's a children's park. If you live in a nice residential neighborhood, you cannot avoid children's parks, right? Would you agree? Go like this if you agree. If you are in a residential neighborhood, there's always children's parks. So it's very hard to avoid those. Now then the customer says, yeah, I do. There's a children's park in front of close to my house. I see, sir. And then he asks the next question. Do you have plants at home? Maybe in your garage or balcony. So now once again, we've created this picture in the customer's mind that if they have those plants at home, there's definitely a problem, Then another picture, once again, one more question. Sir, are you married? Do you have any children? So if they say, yes, I'm married and I have children, I might even ask, I guess the children play around the plants or in the garage. Now, ultimately, I'm reminding this person of his everyday life and how much at risk he is, or his family is, of this getting bitten by dengue. If your children are playing around those plants, of course, sir, it's very high risk for the children and also yourself being bitten. Would you agree? This person is, he's a logical person, he will say, yes, of course, I agree. That there's a very high risk of getting bitten by. So ultimately, this next picture of this guy is thinking about his daughter or son, young kid, walking around, running around the plants, running around the park and being at risk of dengue mosquito. Now that we have created this picture, if you remember the previous slide in which we were creating pictures in the people's mind, there was one picture of a cartoon picture of a lady who says, I need a solution. So the 2 or 3 questions that this person asked this customer, he brought that customer in that state of mind of wanting or needing the solution. Once he did that, and the customer says, yes, I do live close to this kind of places, and these places are close to my house, then he moves on and tells this customer about the benefit of taking this dengue insurance. Of course, sir, I suggest you use necessary precautions like removing all the plants or keep them dry at all times, but please get protected so that you can get free treatment for dengue. So the first part of the phone call created all the worrisome pictures in the mind where they wanted a solution. And then the next part of the phone call ultimately creates all the positive pictures of all the convenience that they will enjoy. And all the, because you imagine that you got bitten, you starting all the fever and everything, and now you also have to worry about where to go, which doctor. You don't have any insurance, so you have to start thinking about need to go to the ATM, come up with the money, blah, everything. All those problems start happening, and through our strategic dialogue, which creates pictures in their minds, we are able to get them to get in that state where they want to have that insurance. You would be surprised. Of course, you won't be surprised now because I've already told you about the 27%. But this department increased their sales by 27% just by taking this approach. In Hollywood movies also, if somebody is trying to sell somebody a big property, like even last night I was watching this this Netflix series by the name of Dead to Me. So inside there's this one lady, the name of the series is Dead to Me. So this lady is trying to sell a house, and a very expensive house on the beach. So I was noticing the way she was doing it. She was actually telling this customer, picture this. The moment she said, picture this, I all of a sudden felt the reassurance that I'm teaching everybody the right things. Picture this, you come back home after a long day of work, and you'll reach for your keys, but then you realize you don't need the keys. All you have to do is press this button and the alarm will shut off by itself and the garage door will open by itself. And then you can sit in the back, have a glass of champagne and, in the terrace back there, and you can look at the view and you can relax. So this person did not tell them what kind of bathroom fixtures are inside their house, what kind of tile is being used. Did not tell them. All this person did was made the person be the owner of that house before they even bought the house and enjoy the things that the house comes with. So if you're able to do that, believe me, your sales are automatically going up. That's the bottom line. So we are going to spend a lot of time during this training program coming up with the right words, right questions to ask in order to questions to ask the customers in order to create these pictures in their minds.